Michigan Liberation is a statewide network of people and organizations organizing to end the criminalization of Black families and communities of color in Michigan. We envision a state without mass incarceration, mass policing, and punishment. We envision a state with the best public education in the nation, single-payer health care, and thriving Black and brown communities. Here on the Respect the Roots podcast, we will lift up the stories and experiences of those impacted by mass incarceration, collective ties to the criminal legal system, and the frontline efforts to end mass incarceration.
Hey everybody, it's Miss Marjon for another episode of Respect the Roots, Michigan Liberation's podcast. I want to thank you. Before I bring on my guests, I got to, first of all, talk about this month is May as Mental Health Day. Not Mental Health Day, but Mental Health Month. And my guest is Tori Price. Tori Price is from MI-CEMI, one of our partners and so forth. But Tori, I'm going to bring Tori on and everything so we can get this thing started. But this is a serious topic, mental health. But Tori, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time. My brother from another mother. But I want to read his bio and everything, everybody. Tori Price is he's the program coordinator for Michigan Collaborative to End Mass Incarceration. Now, we know your organization, Tori, as MI-CEMI, MI-CEMI, all right? He's the proud father of a teenage son. All right, we have to come back to that one. Tori, you got to tell us about that. A formerly incarcerated person and an alumni of the Inside Out Prison Exchange Program, a teaching assistant for Becca Pickus, restorative justice, decarceration, abolitionists. Oh, abolition. I'm sorry, it said abolition, but I see that we say abolitionist. Practice class at the University of Michigan. Go Blue. And also a teaching coach for the Inside Out Center, Temple University, Pennsylvania, where he co-facilitates the training of university professors on the unique,
dialogue, yes, unique dialogue. Yeah, dialogic, yes, yeah, you got it.
Okay, dialogue. Okay, learning format used by Inside Out. So thank you, Tori, so much. I was having a senior moment there, but here, this is where we have a great conversation. It is. Thank you so much again, Tori, for being on the show and everything and giving us your time. We wanted, like I said, May is Mental Health Month. All right.
Yes.
And being a formerly incarcerated individual, I want you to spend this time us talking, conversation, but you schooling us. What does that mean? How does mental health and being formerly incarcerated coincide or correlate and so forth?
First of all, I just want to say thank you. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to be here. I've heard about Respect the Roots, and so I'm honored as a guest of yours today. Mental health for me, dealing with number one, the stigma behind it. Growing up in my family, you can't talk about how you feel. No one wants to say you're crazy or you're going to a psychiatrist. So a lot of feelings have been suppressed. Add incarceration into that, where you're in an oppressed system. Have to go into a place, not show my emotions for protection. Have to create an ego that protects me as an individual. And then MDOC doesn't do anything to help me, and they just drop me off at home on my release date and tell me to figure it out.
Wow.
Really struggled coming home. I was really fast paced, doing a lot of things, but really struggled with dealing with the trauma and the PTSD that I experienced while incarcerated. And then, all of a sudden, in September of last year, it burst.
Wow.
And I had a relapse. And so, and I'm gonna tell you, Marjon, it's not easy. I had Medicaid and I felt it coming on. So in August, I actually tried to get mental health treatment. And I went through all the interview process. It took me about 2 to 3 hours. And what they told me was I wasn't bad enough. So the therapist that I was seeking in August, because I felt this pressure, I was told through CMA that I was not bad enough,
Okay,
and
wait,
then I
Tori.
relapsed. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's stop. Let's put a
Hmm.
pin in there.
Okay.
First
Yes.
of all, you're a father of a
Yeah.
teenage son. Let's remember I said I would come back. How old is your son?
He's 13. He's
13.
30,
Oh,
he
okay.
is 13, man.
Woo, 13. So you got that on your shoulders.
Yes.
And then you're
Yes.
saying they're telling you you're not bad enough. It's almost like when they say you're not poor enough, to get assistance. So please tell us in your terms, because we don't want to assume or anything. In your terms, what exactly does that mean? You're not bad enough. Does that mean you're supposed to be out in the streets half naked, screaming, acting crazy? What's be real and raw about it, Tori? What does that mean? Oh man, I know. I had to put you. Wait, we had to unmute you for a minute. It's it was me. Wait, you went mute for a second, Tori. Can you unmute your mic? It said your mic is not. Hey,
Sorry about that.
I'm
My
telling you, a hot
apologies.
topic.
Oh,
It happens like
yeah.
that.
Yes. What that I didn't even I wasn't given an explanation. Basically, I answered the questions as fit as I could, and what they told me was, you don't qualify for mental health treatment at this time. And from my understanding, schizophrenia, um, some type of personality disorder. I guess if I had, some of those, it would have been okay. But the trauma I dealt with in prison, I guess, wasn't good enough. And the fact that I was at the time in recovery from substance use disorder, because I guess I hadn't relapsed yet, that I didn't qualify. Um,
Wow. And we're going
so
to talk
it,
about that, Tori, later
yeah.
on. But with the mental health, you would think getting out of prison. Now, how long were you in, Tori?
So this past time I was in, this is the third time I've been in prison. I was in for 10 years.
Okay, for 10 years. And
Yes.
so you've been out how long again? Repeat that again, because some people might have missed that. How
Yeah.
long?
So I've been out for 15 months now.
15 months.
So now I've been out for 15 months, but I got out last February 23. By August of 23, I felt the pressures. I felt all that I had suppressed, I felt coming on. And that's when I reached out. I had
Yes.
Medicaid. I thought this would be a simple process. I said, I need a therapist. I need to see somebody, and again, that was tough for me to do anyway, because of how I was raised, and family secrecy, and you're okay and nothing's wrong with you. So
Yeah.
just taking that step, it was tough for me, but I did it, and was rejected.
Wow. Okay. So you were 15 months out. Okay. You seeing that you're getting ready to, and hey, let's just be real. We all probably done went through something like that, like this,
Uh,
where not necessarily where you've been incarcerated, but you're at the end of your rope. You
mhm.
see, let's say the train coming, and you're like,
Yes.
whoa, I need some help. So you're trying to get a therapy, you're trying to get some help to see, first of all, what all is going on, like all these emotions, all these things that are going on inside of me. What's happening here? Because you don't want to blow a gasket, right? You know what I'm saying, Tori?
You're absolutely right, especially someone on parole. The risk of going back to prison, and it just being, I acknowledged it. I was aware, self-awareness that something wasn't right.
Right.
I spent so much time with my son during the summer. I was, in the fellowship, so I was really busy. And then when September hit and he went back to school and my fellowship was over, I mean, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I felt it, and I just wanted to get help.
Right.
I wanted to get the help that I knew that I needed at the time.
That's hard. Let me ask you this, because you mentioned MDOC, and for those
Yeah.
of you who are, we're talking to Tori Price. He works with MI-CEMI, and he's a program coordinator over there. But he is sharing his unfiltered, raw testimony of dealing with mental illness and so forth, or his mental health. He's talking about it. But let's school the people. MDOC. What does that stand for? Because some people don't know, have a clue what
Yeah.
that is.
You know what? You're right. It's Michigan Department of Corrections.
Okay, so
Um,
they released you. Okay, now
yes.
I'm going there on them. No
Yes.
shade on MDOC. They
Mhm.
released you. 15
Yes.
months ago.
Hmm.
And was there any kind of like aftercare package or follow up from anybody?
Yeah, yeah. They gave me a bunch of information. They gave me a bunch of numbers to call, and I called them. I called those numbers because that's what I qualify for with Medicaid. And so yeah, that's about all they did. They gave me a booklets with a list of numbers. That was their follow up. That was the care. That was the aftercare for Michigan Department of Corrections.
So you call the numbers and it's like
Hmm.
basically at the end of the day, you're not crazy enough. Let's go there, right, Tori?
Let's go there. That's what right. I wasn't crazy enough.
Okay. And so with that, Tori, what happened next? Because I know we're going to talk
Oh,
about you dealing with SUD, substance
hmm,
use disorder, but
yes,
lead us
absolutely.
up to that, or what
Hmm.
happened? You done called all these numbers, and
Yes.
they basically telling you, no, 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 you're not crazy enough. You're not
Hmm.
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs enough. You're
Right.
not out in these. I mean, you just got out, 15 months out
Yeah.
now. Tell us what happened next.
Yes, and so September of 23, I relapsed. I hadn't used a drug in 9 years, and didn't get the help that I needed. I'm not gonna put all that on that. I still made a choice, right? I had made a decision to use, and that was a relapse. And I'm gonna tell you, man, it has been a struggle since September of last year for me. I thank my employer, Michigan Collaborative to End Mass Incarceration. They have stuck by my side. They have the core mission that they believe in. They truly showed it to me in dealing with, going to treatment, getting the help that I needed, having the time off. They really helped me and was assisted me in getting back to work and getting back to what I need to be.
Mhm.
I didn't ask. One thing for sure is a lot of people, folks with substance use disorder, do not wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I want to go destroy my life.
Right.
It doesn't. That's not the case. As a father, I love my son, and I know that when I'm using, I'm an absent father, and
Mm,
I want to be a present one. He deserves that. I was gone for 10 years of his life,
right.
so it was a crash in September of last year. And like I said, I looked for the help. I asked for it, and then I had to and then I had to find it on my own. But I'm gonna tell you, after my relapse, I qualified.
Wow. So Tori, we talked to Tori from MI-CEMI. He's the program coordinator. Like you said, shout out to MI-CEMI. Shout out to all of y'all at MI-CEMI because Tori, I know that helped saved you and
Yeah.
everything. But I want to now talk about dealing with substance use disorder, SUD,
Yeah.
because that
Mhm.
when you say relapse, because we got to educate people, because that's
Yes,
one thing.
absolutely.
When we do podcasting around here, I don't want nobody. I don't like to assume that everybody knows what we're talking about,
Right.
and especially somebody like me. Like you got to break it down when you
Yeah.
SUD. So basically, you get out. You're up
Hmm.
there trying to do right. You're trying to count all these doggone numbers that MDOC gave you. No shade.
Yes,
And that's probably
absolutely.
what anybody. And just think, Tori, you ain't the only one, bro. It's a lot of
No.
people. That's why I asked you, what kind of care package? Like, are you assigned a caseworker? I mean, let's just be real, because people gonna ask when they see this podcast episode. Like, so
Right.
you can tell me you literally walked out with a Manila folder or some type of 2-pocket folder with some numbers, and you call. I mean, so let's be real. And you
Yeah.
were given
Yeah.
the task of calling these numbers. You didn't qualify. They basically said you're not crazy enough.
Right.
Then
Hmm.
you relapsed.
Yes,
And that
absolutely.
brings us to the SUD, the substance use
Yeah.
disorder. Tell us,
Hmm.
you relapsed and what happened there? You're a father of a teenage son.
Yeah.
And I mean, my gosh. So that's where all this is now. Now you qualify.
Yeah. I qualified for help at that time. I qualified for help, and and I just, listen, a relapse, and a lot of people do get it confused. A relapse comes and is when someone who is working a program, okay, of recovery, which I was.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to Narcotics Anonymous meetings. I had a sponsor,
Okay.
and when I use again, because I used again and I was working a program, that's called a relapse, right? So I went back to using after working a program. So I had stopped again. I had no drugs for 9 years. And so that relapse and really, I'm gonna be honest with you, I had to educate myself, right? I never called it a substance use disorder.
Mm.
But it is an illness that needs to be treated. And so I had my ups and downs. I've been to 4 treatment centers since September of last year, um, 4
Mm.
separate occasions. And it's looked at, when we talk about care, not criminalization, which I know, Michigan Liberation is got something going. Ash Daniels got something going. I need to be a part of whatever Michigan Liberation has on that. I want to assist and help. But when you talk about that, me, I'm on federal and state parole, and so the state is saying, hey, get the help you need, get the help you need. And there was a time where my third time going to treatment that the Fed said, hey, you might go back to prison. You might go back to prison because you used. Okay. Not that I committed another crime, but I might go back to prison because I used.
Wait a
And
minute, Tori. What
so,
does that mean?
yeah.
Okay, wait, Tori, wait a minute. You
Yeah.
just kind
Yeah.
of,
Uh-huh.
bro, let me ask you, real talk.
Hmm.
You might go back to prison because you were
Yeah.
using drugs, not because
Correct.
you were selling them. Let's just
No,
help us to understand how
no, no,
unpack that.
no. It,
How is that? How are you gonna go? You're not doing anything to anybody. Like, I mean, how are you gonna go back to prison for that?
so I'll break it down for you. I mean, the way they told me was every time I purchased drugs, I was committing a crime. Right? Okay.
Okay.
So and being on parole, they have to save the public, right? They have to make sure the public safety. And so because I was on parole and using drugs, that was part of my stipulation that I wasn't supposed to. And the fact that I had been to 3 treatment centers and I was failing. All right, that's the word that was used. I failed. And I said, no, I'm not failing. I'm still fighting.
Mhm.
Every time I raised my hand and said I need
Mm.
treatment, I was fighting. I was fighting. Not failing. I was gaining information every time I went. Again, I talked earlier. I never woke up saying, you know what, let me go out and destroy my life and let me go out and commit crimes like purchasing drugs and let me go back to prison. That was never on my mind or my thought process, but it was happening. So I was facing time in federal prison because of violations of parole, violations. I thank God for my judge, and
Mhm.
he told me to go back to treatment, complete treatment, and they'll put me in a halfway house instead of prison. I get to come out and work. I'm in intensive outpatient now. Today I'm 59 days clean. I mean, my life
Woo!
couldn't be better. It couldn't be better. And I'm thankful for that opportunity because if I just went to prison, n- nothing would have. I mean, if I'm in prison right now, I'm not getting. I wouldn't have got the treatment that I needed. I wouldn't have a
Wow.
job. I'd be further away from my son. The opposite of addiction is connection. And
Mm.
take away family connection, what do I have in 18 months? What do I have a year from now if they would have gave me? I wouldn't have had any of that. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity that I got to seek treatment one more time and to again learn and gain that information, more information I needed, and I did. I know I needed to get more vulnerable. I knew I needed to really be able to connect with other people and to utilize the people around me, the community that exists. And most of the time, you know what, Marjon, it's a hidden community. Most folks won't
Right.
come on a podcast and say they have substance use disorder
Right.
because of the
Right. This
stigma
right here.
involved.
Right. SUD.
Um,
I didn't even know there was a name for it because most
yeah,
times we just say you know, former drug user or whatever. And
Yeah.
that's what brings me, man, this has been flying by and we've got about 8 minutes left. Tori, I
Yeah.
told you this conversation is definitely juicy. One of the
Yeah.
things I wanted to add was moving forward with mental illness. The thing is, I want you to spend the rest of this time we have together to,
Hmm.
to school us on
Yeah.
what lessons learned, because somebody's gonna get bailed out or released or from jail
Hmm.
or prison. Hey,
Yeah.
this week today, we're still doing bailouts here at Michigan Liberation. Shout out to our
Yeah.
bailout team. And I
Yeah.
see it all the time, Tori, where these people get bailed out, they're excited in the videos, and then, let's be real, a week or two later, they're MIA because of you know what it is, all these different terms. They've
Yes.
either relapsed, they're mental. We had unfortunately one lady, I was supposed to interview her, couldn't interview her because we couldn't find her due to mental
Wow.
illness. So please tell us, moving forward, what does that look like? What are some lessons learned, moving forward with mental illness, whether it's SUD, substance use disorder, or
Right.
something else you've been diagnosed with? Because people need to be encouraged, Tori, and they need to hear from people like you who've been there,
Yeah.
done that. Got a t-shirt, got a fresh shirt, hoodie, everything on it.
Man, all of it, all of it. I got coins and
All of
everything.
it.
Yes,
Jogging
and
pants, everything.
it is. The really the most important thing is awareness. Uh, the awareness that the number one, that people who deal with substance use disorder, mental health, are human beings. We are humans. We are children. We are parents. We are friends, and more people deal with mental illness and substance use disorder than we even think. And the more we humanize it, the more we open the door and say it's okay to step through. It's okay that you have this illness. The more people will step through that door because they're not stigmatized. We need to have open discussions and conversations about the ways to deal with it, especially coming out of prison. There needs to be a comprehensive mental health check for any individual going home. And then when they go home, there needs to be, there needs to be appointments set up prior to release, and then allow for that situation to pan out. Now some people say, I don't need that, but what about the folks who do? And for the
Yeah.
folks who do need it, that process needs to be set up from jails, from prisons. Um, you know, we need to have some type of care from point A to point B. And then, like I said, the most important thing is to open the door for folks to, I was just at a meeting, two meetings on Saturday and Sunday. And most of the people in those meetings will openly talk about their problems in that meeting because everyone in that room is similar. But
Mm.
everyone is scared to talk about it. They can't talk
Yeah.
about it with their employer. They can't talk about it with their family members because we have created this stigma and to look down on people who have. We don't look down on people who have cancer. We don't look down on people who have diabetes. We lift them up. We want to see them ring the bell for if they, to show that cancer is gone. What about those that ring the bell and say, "Hey, I'm not using anymore. I know I'm in recovery. Let's lift them up.
Yeah.
Let's bring notice to the folks who are fighting the fight. You saying, what, today I don't want to destroy my life. Today I want to be a father. And that's and we need to come together as community because see, the more we help each other out, the safer our communities are going to be.
Right. Right, Tori. And you being a parent, being a father, and we got Father's Day around the corner.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
what
yeah.
how are you doing with, like, especially I remember I did an episode, a podcast episode, and one of the things that came up is the family, like the children. And can you talk about that? How has your relationship been with your son and when dealing with this SUD, the substance use disorder, and like you said, you was away for like 10 years of his life.
Mhm.
So how have you been moving forward with not only mental illness, but even dealing with having a son, a family
Yeah.
like that, a family member?
My son is loving and caring, but he said something to me yesterday, and I was so shocked that he said it, but so happy. You know, I haven't seen my son in 60 days. Um, because of the halfway house that I'm in, and he plays on a high level travel baseball team, so they play games every weekend. Um, so it's hard the times that I do have out, to actually see him. And I told him, I said, Sunday, should be at home for 12 hours, and you can come see me. And I haven't seen him in 60 days. He said, Dad, that's what happens when you make bad decisions. Um, and I said, you know what? You are right. You are right. And that's just another reason, for my turnaround, and for me to make good decisions today, because I don't want to disappoint him. Our relationship blossomed when I came home. I mean, his mom called me a Disney dad, right? I mean, we went everywhere. We did everything together. Michigan basketball games, Michigan football games, and took him to sent him to Michigan basketball camp. I mean, this kid had a summer, of fun. He had a summer of fun, and then I went absent. And so we still have a good relationship. We talk daily. He thinks I'm an ATM, you know, and I think he pulls at those strings. It's funny. He said, "Dad, you made bad decisions." Then this morning he asked for something, right? So and I I love it. I love it. I love the opportunity. I love the opportunity that when I am in recovery, I have the ability. I have the ability to be there for my son financially. I have the ability to be there for him mentally, physically. So it's fun to see him grow. It's fun to see him prosper at his sport. Um, he's doing really good at school. So I'm a
Oh,
proud
that's
father.
good.
I am a proud father, of him, and he loves me. He loves me just the way I am. He just wants me to be present more.
Wow, wow. Thank you, Tori, so much. We got like a minute left. I told you,
Mm.
man. I told Tori, I would say you don't need no interview questions. We have conversations. And
Yeah,
Tori, I tell everybody near the end, your family, what up, though? You know you from Sag Nasty. What they call Saginaw, Sag Nasty.
yeah,
What up, though?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
No, what up, though? What
you
up,
have
though? I'm
what
down.
do, what do. Yes, you already been inducted. And I want to
Yeah,
thank you again for coming on here, sharing your story. It does take a lot of realness, rawness to
yeah,
say, hey, you know what? Not only am I a formerly incarcerated individual, I have suffered for some form of mental illness, in this case, substance use disorder. And like you said, we here at Michigan Live, we got, care not criminalization, but you'd be surprised, a lot of people in denial and everything. So we thank you, Tori. Anything else for any other words or food for thought you want to tell somebody? Because you know how it is near the end. It's like, dang,
yeah,
I wanted to say this. Anything for anybody out there who is struggling. Like you've been blessed, Tori, because you like
yeah,
MI-CEMI, my mad shout out to them. And a lot of our other partners who are hiring people with like us. We bail you out, we'll turn around and hire you because we realize
Ooh,
that's part of the recovery, Tori.
yes, it
Come on
is.
now, you
Yes, it
can't get
is.
well in no cell, and you gotta have
Man,
a job.
oh, oh,
You gotta have a
yeah,
job nowadays to just
man.
drink water.
I just want, what I tell people. Here's the thing. You must have hope in the future in order to have power in the present. Because
Say it
when you're
again, Tori.
hopeless, you must have hope for the future to have power in the present. Because when you're hopeless, you don't care about tomorrow. But when you have hope, today means everything. And so that's the way I'm living, is that today means everything. Because I got plans. I
Well,
got plans. I got plans to go forward, to continue to help my brothers and sisters that are incarcerated, to continue to help people and bring the word to folks dealing with mental illness and substance use disorder. This is just the beginning. It's the beginning, and I'm grateful that you allowed me to come on the show to tell my story,
thank you.
and just to keep it real and be honest about who I am. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, Tori, thank you. And when we get ready to put this episode out, we'll give people, if you don't mind, your social media or contact information, especially since you're working with MI-CEMI, who is
Yeah,
an amazing organization working towards end mass incarceration. And I just thank you for coming to be so real and raw on here. And you got to come back because we're always doing something,
yeah,
tackling a different topic or anything. And hey, for all of y'all that are out there listening, watching, please join us on this journey of working to end mass incarceration. With that, Tori, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it, my brother. And I thank you, and I wish you well on this recovery. And I wish all of you who are listening, watching. I'm praying for y'all because I know it's a struggle. Tori, it's a struggle, and I wish we could talk more. But I'm gonna close us out, and we're gonna talk more offline. But till next time, Tori, we got to tell everybody respect the roots. Okay, you ready? One, two,
yeah.
three. Ready?
Respect
The
the
roots.
roots.
Till next time, y'all. We out of here. All right, we out of here. Michigan Liberation Education Fund, C3, conducts grassroots organizing, leadership development, and civic engagement activities. Michigan Liberation C4 and Michigan Liberation Action Fund, IE, are sister organizations.